welcome to the Ref Show. Now, what about this then? Ref rage grips the country. There's not a round ball in sight. Now, how unusual is that? It's been a good weekend in football for Premier League referees. We've got our refereeing eggheads here in the studio, Keith Hackett and Mark Halsey, and they're coming quite nicely to the boil, especially about the controversy that saw Scotland dumped out of the Rugby World Cup in very controversial circumstances. Technology only works if you use it, doesn't it, really? Right. But before we come to that, Howard Kendall, commiserations from all that you are the ref, to the family of the great former Everton player and manager, and many other clubs where he was received in great affection, as he was at Sheffield United here in this city where we record the Ref Show. We've all had the pleasure of knowing Howard in some capacity. It strikes me that as well as being a great player and manager, he was also a great sportsman, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of refereed him as a player. He started very young, and then had the pleasure of refereeing the Charity Shield, as it was called then, between Everton and Liverpool, where he was the manager, and terrific guy. And then when he came to Sheffield United, with the three musketeers, as I used to call them, Peter Reid and Adrian Heath helping them.
Well, you had some fun.
Yeah, but he would call you in, and he'd ask for clarification on certain things. And he was always a gentleman in terms of his behaviour towards referees.
True legend. He
Great
was.
man. Yeah. And commiserations again to the family of Howard Kendall. We really enjoyed his company. Great for football. Rugby. It's not often we say that on this programme, but Scotland going out by 1 point, that last-minute penalty. The referee was Craig Joubert at Twickenham. Heartbreaking for Scotland. Now, a deliberate offside was called, and he decided that himself without... He could have gone to the video ref, should he?
I think it's a bit like our assistants getting them wrong this weekend, isn't it? But, I mean, I think Scotland must be absolutely devastated because... You know, it's been a fantastic World Cup, hasn't it? Fantastic. Refereeing's been fantastic, and watching the games has been absolutely amazing. And I was a little bit surprised because it's there, that, you know, they've got the technology there, and it's a big call. Why not just go upstairs to see if we've got this right? And, you know, because it's, I mean, Scotland are going out or going home, and perhaps they shouldn't be going home. So it's a wrong call, yeah.
And here at Euro the Ref, we've been championing rugby and saying this is the way for football to go. Do you feel a bit let down?
Yeah, but if you look at the cricket, I mean, when the umpires, straight away they don't take any guesses on run-outs. They go straight upstairs. So why didn't he do that with that?
I think that we've seen generally the use of video being a real positive step in rugby, and I would like it introduced into football. I think if you've got the technology, then you should use it. This very experienced referee didn't use it at a very key moment, which is amazing, really. You know, I spent the weekend watching the games, and Saturday we saw Wayne Barnes, terrific referee, brilliant communicator, and we can listen in to what he's saying, encouraging players. He's not always having a go at them. All part of, if you like, a positive aspect in terms of that sport.
Nigel Owens as well. I know that you've got high rating for.
He's just an outstanding official.
It's been a good weekend for Premier League referees. In the main, they leave us with a little bit to talk about. Playing advantage as an official and seeing a goal scored, how satisfying is that? Because two referees had that feeling. John Moss, Manchester United's win at Everton, and Roger East, Aston Villa's defeat at Chelsea. In both cases, good advantages led to goals.
I mean, I've been a great advocate on this show about, you know, young referees learning how to and when to hold their whistle. And I've got to say, I think it's one of my favourite pieces of refereeing over the weekend because it was a fantastic advantage by John Moss. And you do punch there, but you do it inside yourself. There's nothing better when an advantage like that comes off. And full credit to John Moss. I thought it was absolutely a wonderful advantage by John. Wonderful.
And Roger East too.
Yeah, I think that when referees, and we should always encourage referees to apply an advantage, that way you can actually reduce the risk of confrontation between players. When you apply it in that nature and it comes off, then it's a great plaudit. And therefore I think John Moss has done really well in that situation.
It's good to see that they both actually stopped short of a clenched fist and punching the air in delight. Memorably, Mike Reid, of course, did this. Yeah. The year 2000 it was.
And he got suspended. Yeah. One game suspension.
Liverpool won 3-1 against Leeds at Anfield. One of Liverpool's goals. That was
a terrific advantage. Yeah. But again, in that period of time, we were encouraged to stay out of the game, let it breathe, and let it flow, and
certainly not celebrate goals.
Well, certainly not celebrate goals.
Well, I was on the line many years ago. You remember Jim Parker? Yeah. He was refereeing at Peterborough, and I was on the line. He played this wonderful advantage, and Peterborough scored for it. He's gone like that during the game. I think, oh, what's he doing? But yeah, you got away with it then.
Because it wasn't top flight either. No. Mike Jones, he's had a bit of criticism from you guys, objectively, last season in particular. Strikes me this season there's been an improvement. I mean, Arsenal's victory 3-0 at Watford. He was in charge. Very little to pick up. I mean, is he an improved referee, Keith?
I think he is improved. I think. Like many referees in the Premier League, the mobility's improved. You know, okay, you can be fit, but are you fit for purpose? And I think that we've talked regularly, haven't we, about this need for an explosive sprint, good viewing angle, and I think it's proving. You know, certain referees are doing it now, and they're getting the benefits of that extra effort. And
also, I think we've come under a lot of criticism, yourself and me, about the way we criticise. But we do it in a way. You do it constructively, so you can learn from your errors. But at the same time, we praise them when they do well as well. And this is a time now when John Moss, I thought done well in the game at Man United, and Mike Jones as well. So do they watch this show?
Well, Craig Pawson was also praised on RefCam by Rob Harris for his handling of the goalless draw between Tottenham and Liverpool. Let's come on to one where there certainly is a discussion point. Martin Atkinson was in charge. Big Sam Allardyce's first game as Sunderland manager. Would have got something out of it, but for a controversial West Brom goal. Berahino, after he appeared to foul Pantilimon, the Sunderland keeper, in mid-flight.
Well, I mean, Keith's just spoken about technology, how he'd like it come into football. Now, there's a prime example where it's most probably difficult for the referee to see that Berahino's fouled the keeper, he's backed into him. Okay, the goal's gone in. Hang on, let's just stop. Let's go upstairs. Let's have a look. Yes, comes back to Martin. Yes, it's a free kick on the goalkeeper. Bang, away we go. No controversy.
But was it so obvious that Martin Atkinson should have seen it anyway, Keith?
Personally, I think those are the types of incidents, the big decisions that you've got to get right. The law's quite specific. You cannot charge or challenge a goalkeeper with his feet off the floor in his goal area. And that's what you have to look for as a referee. If you have the knowledge of the law, then you're heightened awareness around this challenge. Now, okay, the goalkeepers have to be strong. Invariably they are. But on this one, I was amazed. I mean, I thought Sam Allardyce made the criticism, but how subdued it was compared to the past.
But if you look at Martin's viewing angle,
restrained.
Yeah,
he's restrained.
Right. Yeah, very good. But if you look at Martin's viewing angle and his positioning, was he static? Should he have been perhaps making that angle, moving around to see that? Because there wasn't a second offence. Obviously, once the ball hit the floor, the keeper's got his hands on the ball, and then Berahino's kicked it out of his hands as well. So
he needed super slow-mo ready to see that.
On that particular point, one of the interesting bits about Martin Atkinson is that he's penetrating the penalty area much more than a lot of the other referees. Him and Clattenburg, who are both elite UEFA referees, clearly see the advantage of actually getting into the penalty area to observe what's happening.
Okay. Well, despite that should have been a foul, Pantilimon, surely he should have taken everything, the ball and everything. What was he playing at? I think goalkeepers are overprotected, personally. Am I right or wrong?
You're wrong. Being an ex-goalkeeper, I'm in the keepers union, because once you're in the air, it only takes a little push, as Sam did to your good friend,
John Roeder. Yeah. John Roeder was the interviewer.
And he lost his balance, and he was a bit like Paul Alcott, wasn't it, as he goes stumbling back.
I think that's why they ended the interview clip then, after Sam had poked him. I think John, yeah. I think he was tumbling backwards. Love to have seen it. Yeah. But you don't think they're overprotected either, do you?
I think the goalkeeper plays with his hands, invariably. Players play with their feet. Therefore, referees have to take that into consideration.
Listen, if that was a Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper, it would have been a free kick all day long.
We know that. We'd have been talking about it all through the show as well. Southampton's entertaining as ever. A goalless 2-2 draw, not far from goalless, with Leicester, who make these terrific comebacks. Paul Tierney was in charge. Not his fault, but second goal was offside, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not Paul Tierney's error. It's the assistant referees, and I say, I mean, Paul Tierney doesn't referee the game well. I watched him at Blackburn Bolton, where he had a very different game, but obviously he's learnt from that. Yeah, it's offside. He's interfering with play. The ball's come across, been flicked on, it's come back off. He's inactive at that time. It gets flicked on, but it comes back off the post. He then puts the ball into the back of the net. He then becomes active, interfering with play. Gaining the advantage should have been disallowed. Right.
In the second half of the ref show, we'll complete the roundup of Premier League games. We'll also talk about the Championship, because of some really good discussion points from that over the weekend. You were at a Championship game, so was I. Still to come, Crystal Palace and West Ham, and issues arising. I know these guys want to take Alan Pardew to task following that game, and a real educational learning point for all of us, actually, on the laws of the game, revolving around Manchester City's big win over Bournemouth. Join us for all of that.